Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today, we're going to have a ranked, this is not a top 10 video, on the note of Oud. Now, I did an Oud, this is not a top 10 video already, that wasn't ranked, and I just kind of threw everything together. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, you'll find the video. If you go to the This Is Not a Top 10 playlist, you'll find it. And I've decided to rank them a little bit different, because ranking them brings another element into the formula. How do you rank something that is on the quality of Areej Doré, where they use real Oud, it's limited quantities, with something like Tom Ford, where the Oud is not real, it's norlimbanol or whatever they're using to recreate the Oud accord. And to be fair, I do like those fragrances. I do wear them. I'm not talking down to them. But I am saying that they're two completely different classes of fragrances. One, real Oud, and one, synthetic Oud. Western Oud, if you will. Embellished Oud, whatever you want to call it, okay? And so what I did is, we're going to do this video, and this is going to be the real Oud video, okay? This is going to be the fragrances that are from houses who claim to use real Oud. Bortnikoff, Areej Doré. You're going to see some Terence Hughes. You're going to see some Ensar Oud. You're going to see some Frederic Malle. Now, there are a couple bigger houses kind of mixed in. It's not all small niche houses or small indie houses, okay? There are some bigger houses that are mixed in. Xerjoff, for example, claims to use real Oud, and their sister house, Kemi, uses real Oud, Kemi Blending Magic, or whatever their name is. I just smelled one for the very first time within the last month on a blind sniffing live stream that I did. And so, you know, stuff like that's going to be included, but most of it is going to be the indie houses. So, without further ado, let's get into this, because I don't want this video to be 12 hours long, but I do want to do a quick unboxing. And so, let me just open this up real quick. I guess I should have had this prepared. Let's see, there is a box that arrived today, and I figured I would show you guys the beautiful Shalimar. And this is Millésime Tonka. So this is the new Shalimar flanker. And I got an email from Guerlain the other day, and it was like, it's back in stock. And I went to go buy it, and it's like, it's out of stock. And I was like, well, screw you guys. I'm not paying the $50 or $80 markup that the people on eBay were selling it for. And so I just waited, and then they got an email again that said it's back in stock. And then I went to go try to buy it, and it's like, your order didn't go through. And I was like, you bastards. So long story short is, third time was a charm. Beautiful bottle. My first actual, I've got like 4 bottles of Shalimar, and none of them are in this iconic bottle. So I'm actually really happy to have this. And rumor is this is very good. So I'm excited for this. I'm very excited for this. Millésime Tonka by Shalimar. Flanker of Shalimar. One of my favorite fragrances of all time. Definitely in my top 10. If you guys know me, you know I love Shalimar. I really am in love with Shalimar. I think it's an amazing perfume. And it's a fragrance that really kind of set off this, I would say, destination or journey of being open to trying anything. I was much more closed-minded before I discovered fragrances like Shalimar, like the original Shalimar, but probably my favorite bottle of all time. If you said, Ramsey, you have one bottle that you can pick, what is it? What's your favorite? This is it. This iconic Shalimar bottle is my favorite. It's just, it's perfection. It's class. It's history. It's like holding an artifact in your hands, you know? So you guys will hear me talk about the new Shalimar Millésime Tonka very soon. Can't wait. Okay, let's put this aside. Actually, let's put you with your Guerlain brothers, shall we? You can go right there. Yeah, it looks good right there. Okay. Oh, it came with a little pouch, too. I forgot about this. How about that? Little Guerlain pouch of goodies. And what did they send me? I completely forgot. Bois d'Harmonie. So that'll be an early impression coming up soon. Queer Beluga. I've never smelled any of these, by the way. They let me pick them. And look what these are. These are 2 mil. I'm sorry. These are 2 mil. I was about to give them a hard time because I thought I saw that it was like half a mil online. But no, they are 2 mil. That's fair. And then this is Iris Torafi. So I've never smelled any of these. So early impressions coming soon. Good job, Gerlon. 2 mils is fair. That's a fair sample size. Okay. So let me just set this aside for later consumption. Let me put this aside and we'll get started. Okay, so first on this list, just to let you guys know, this is going to be a top 35 countdown, okay? With 2 honorable mentions. And the 2 honorable mentions are honorable mentions strictly for the fact that I don't know the fragrances yet. I haven't had a chance to give them wares, but I will do early impressions on these videos very soon, on these fragrances very soon. They are fragrances from the house of Centauri, okay? And so this is Peter Carter's house. He very kindly sent this to me, and so you know how I always say all of this, I spent my own money on this. None of this was given to me for free. Well, this little sample set was actually given to me for free by him. But I've really enjoyed getting to know it. I think I've done 2 videos on his fragrances already. I did one on his new sandalwood fragrance that came out this year and used like a 1960s very rare sandalwood called Mirabai. And I liked it, but it had some challenging aspects, especially the first hour or 2 kind of really challenged me. Usually I really like honey, but there was something with the almost like rotting honey accord that kind of was hard for me to wear. But then I reviewed a second fragrance, and I forget which one it was. I think it was called Anthea, if I'm not mistaken. Which one did I review? You can go check it out on the channel. There's a playlist. Yes, it was. It was Anthea. And I really liked that. I actually like that even more. And so he has 2 fragrances, though, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe there's more. But he has 2 fragrances that use the note of real oud. And he does claim to use real oud. And he is kind of this indie house, you know, he's kind of like a one-man operation. He has his own YouTube channel. And the 2 fragrances are, one is called Dendera. And Dendera is supposed to be this spicy, resinous fragrance with nutmeg, cinnamon, orris butter, rose absolute, real Vietnamese oud, Indian sandalwood, Haitian vetiver, frankincense, myrrh, labdanum, bourbon vanilla absolute, and real white ambergris. So real oud, real ambergris in his creations. And I'm really excited about Dendera. There's a whole little card that I'll read breaking down the meaning of the fragrance. I love his little backstories on these. The way that he connects stories to his fragrances are fantastic. He really comes up with great stories, and I love the whole, you know, universe, stars, something bigger than us. You know, that's what I think about when I think about his stories, that he's trying to tell a story, something bigger than just one individual person. And the second one is called Om. O-M, like Om. Or I guess maybe the sound that the universe makes if you just kind of have that dull hum, Om. And this is Thai oud. So this is real Thai oud, frankincense, spikenard, patchouli, smoke, pink pepper, ginger, juniper, berry, lavender absolute, Peru balsam, civet, deer musk, which the deer musk is not real. I think it's synthetic. But the Irish white ambergris in here is real. So this is probably the one I'm most excited about. I'm excited about both of them. Real oud, real ambergris, that's right up my alley. So that's why these are the honorable mentions, or, you know, number 36 and number 37, if you will. They didn't make the top 35 countdown because I haven't smelled them yet. I'm still waiting. I'm going to wear them as my scent of the day and do a video on them very soon, hopefully. But that is from the house of Centauri Perfumes. Okay, so now that we got the honorable mention out of the way, let's discuss my scent of the day. Because today, if I sound like I'm so full I can't talk, it's because I am. We actually went and did a Friendsgiving with some of my wife's girlfriends and families, you know, from the neighborhood. And so it was like potluck style. Every family kind of cooked one or two, you know, dishes and kind of brought it in. But just absolutely stuffed to the brim, you know, food. Forget being at my stomach. It's all the way up here. I'm just completely stuffed. And so if I can't breathe or talk, that's why. We did do a Friendsgiving today. Excuse me. And so I wanted to wear something that was representative of the, you know, season, Thanksgiving time. It did actually have some snow. We did have some very light snow flurries late last night and early this morning in Texas. Nowhere near cold enough to stick, but it was interesting seeing a little bit of snowfall for the first time this year. Usually we'll get that a couple times a year. It hardly ever sticks. Rarely does it stick to the ground. So I wanted to wear something that was appealing, but also, you know, representative of the season. And so what I wore, my scent of the day, was this. Scents of Wood. And this is Plum and Cognac. Now, Plum and Cognac is a fragrance that the first time I put it on my skin, I was like, oh no, 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 no. This is not for me. But it only starts out very sweet for the first minute or two. After a minute or two, it really changes. And I really like the mid of this fragrance. The mid is probably my favorite part. It loses some of that sweetness and it begins to get more interesting, although it still does stay somewhat designer synthetic-esque. I mean, if you like stuff like Tobacco Vanille, okay? If you like Vanille Havane from Les Indemodables, it's compared also to a Banana Republic fragrance called Tobacco and Tonka Bean, which I've never smelled, but you get the idea. That kind of, you know, warm cinnamony. There's a little bit of Immortelle in here, but not much. And apparently there is cognac and rum. And I always say that, you know, my two favorite cognac fragrances are Roja's Enigma Pour Homme Parfum, or Creation E, if you're in the United States, and Overture Man by Amouage. You could add this to the list. I think this is an amazing cognac fragrance, Plum and Cognac by Scents of Wood. That's a brand you'll hear more about. I have a bunch of samples, and this is actually another bottle that was sent to me, but not by the brand, by Rachel. So thank you, Rachel. Very kind of you. And every time I wear this now, I will think of you. So thank you. Okay. So there will be a full review coming on that very soon. So let's get started. Top 35. Now this is very hard to rank. So what I did is I picked fragrances that of course had real oud in the breakdown by brands who claim to use real oud. And this is my personal favorites to wear. Some of these I already have videos on the channel that you will be able to go find. Some of them are brand new. Okay, so some of them, there are no videos on the channel yet, but there will be. My goal is to review everything, or at least talk about everything. Do a quick early impression or something on as many fragrances as I can. I want to create a fragrance library, if you will, a library on the channel, where you can go find my thoughts on a fragrance, even if it's, you know, a quick hit video. I want to have something up on the channel on as many fragrances as I can. And this is one such fragrance that I actually wore as my scent of the day, and I did not like it. You can go check out my early impression. I said this is not for me. It is very challenging, and it's extremely... it's beast mode. I mean, if you're someone that cares only about performance and the smell doesn't matter as much to you, this could be your fragrance. It's a Prin fragrance from this year. It's actually you know, Prin does these limited releases, kind of like Areej Doré sometimes, where they'll have enough ingredients for one batch, and once it's gone, it's gone. But this one is called Onthamara. And Onthamara was sent to me by Lee from Fragnanimous. There's his website. Go check him out. I trust him. I've used him many a times. Many of the Bortnikoffs and, you know, fragrances like that you see in the collection came from Lee. And this is a fragrance that uses real Siberian deer musk, Hyraceum, so it's animalic. There's a touch of tea and lavender and beeswax, and spikenard and celery and castoreum and amyris, oak moss, vetiver, pine. And the oud in here The oud that they actually used, where is the oud? I could have sworn, here it is, Thai oud. So it's Thai oud that's used in here. And Prin is a brand that does use real oud as well. So, Onthamara is challenging. It has this Oud Picante-like opening, very, very spicy. And I didn't like Oud Picante. It was probably one of my least favorite Areej Doré fragrances. There's just something about the way that the overdose of spices used in that fragrance. It is higher on the list than Onthamara, because I really did not like this. I thought this was like a worse version of, I thought it was a worse version of Oud Picante. But if you're a fan of spices, if you're a fan of spicy, you know, woody, animalic, challenging, long-lasting fragrances, this could work for you. It just didn't work for me. So, Onthamara comes in at number 35. All right, let me set these that we've done over here. Number 34 is going to be from the house of Rania J, and it's actually called Assam Oud. So here's the sample set that was very kindly sent to me by Shiva. Thank you, Shiva. Very kind of you. Seriously, he bought one for himself, and he bought one for me. I happen to have a sample of Assam Oud already, and so I did a early impression video on it. It's on the channel. You can go find it. The reason it's at 34 and no higher is that for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, you get this beautiful, natural oud smelling accord. And I think Rania J is a house that claims to use real oud, so that's why they're on the list. And so it's there, and you're smelling it, and it smells realistic, and, you know, you're kind of getting into the fragrance, and then all of a sudden it just kind of disappears. It devolves into this peppery, musky, you know, ambery, woody, dry down. And I was like, where did the oud go? Where did the real oud go? And I was actually talking with Russian Adam about this, and he brought up the point that normally oud is used in the base, okay? So normally when you smell oud, you're getting it from the base. It's a base note lots of times because it's so long lasting. And it works great as a base. It holds everything together, you know, stuff like that. But I've noticed many brands now, I'm starting to smell kind of oud being thrown in there in smaller quantities in the top and then disappearing. And that's what I felt like happened with Rania J's Oud Assam. And it was also released almost a decade ago. And so a decade ago, we didn't have things like Bortnikoff or Ensar or Areej Doré or, you know, those kind of brands that really showed us what real oud was. For us, you know, a decade ago, unless you were lucky enough to sniff real oud oil, which was, you know, very rare, you probably thought that this was probably one of the best oud fragrances out there. And so I think just as time has gone on, our perception of amazing oud fragrances has changed. And so that's why Rania J's Oud Assam comes in at number 34. But as you can see, I have the whole set. And so there will be some early impressions done on the house of Rania J. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 33. And this is an Terence Hughes fragrance. And he, interestingly, got into a little bit of a beef regarding oud. I'll just tell the story real quick for those that don't know. Terence Hughes is a brand who, he's actually a gentleman who has his own YouTube channel. And he once reviewed a fragrance by a house called, oh, hang on, I'll tell you in just a second. I will tell you in just one moment. My brain just blanked out. Fragrance Du Bois. So he reviewed a oud fragrance by the House of Fragrance Du Bois, and he said there's no oud in here. And they sued him, or they forced him. They sent him a cease and desist letter or something and made him read an apology. It was grim. I mean, he looked like he was in a Vietnamese work camp, and they had a gun to the back of his head, and he was reading this letter, you know. Fragrance Du Bois does use real oud, you know, that the lawyers made him read. Well, long story short is he tested it. He sent it to a lab, a GCMS lab, where they could test the fragrance to see what percentage of all the particles were in there, because they said, no, we use real oud 100%. You have to detract that statement. And so he sent it, and it came back that it was like 0.001 or something, or 0.01, or whatever it was, 0.1, whatever small, tiny amount, the tiniest amount, just to say they could use real oud. For example, one of the fragrances I'm going to talk about today from Russian Adam is called Beauty and the Beast. And on Beauty and the Beast, he uses 30% oud oil concentration. Now, that is his heaviest use of oud oil. But, you know, whether it was 0.01 or 0.001 or whatever it was still obviously just so they could say there was real oud in there. It wasn't a big part of the composition. Most of the oud effect was created by the synthetics, like I said earlier, norlimbinol, and there's a bunch of them out there. That's just the one that pops in my mind every time. And so when he put out his fragrances, he made sure that there was a decent amount of real oud in them. And so that's why it's making the list. So this came out in 2020, and this was very kindly sent to me by one of you, actually. And this is a 10 ml decant, which honestly, for when you have a big collection, 10 ml decants are perfect. Histoire de Parfums does a 15 ml bottle. That's absolutely perfect for a big collection, because you don't always need 50, 100 ml bottles. Sometimes 10, 15 is more than enough for you to get to know the fragrance and wear it and stuff like that. But oud is basically this woody oriental take on oud. There's two types of real oud in here. There's Thai oud and Burmese oud. And the top is rose orange, so it is kind of a rose oud. But the twist here is there's this raspberry. So there's this fresh raspberry fruit mixed with this dried fruit accord. And I think it's like a date. It's like dates or, you know, stuff like that. Dried fruits. Think about the dried fruits in something like Camel by Zoologist, right? You get dried fruits with raspberry and amber. So it's an amber, oud, and rose combo. And you know what? It's pretty wearable for there being real oud in it. It's actually a really nice fragrance. I'm enjoying it. I think there could even be real ambergris in the base. There's some benzoin and vanilla that makes it very wearable. So yes, check out Aaron Terence Hughes' brand. I don't necessarily like him as a reviewer. I have a hard time watching his content. He's not someone that I'm interested in watching. But I am enjoying his fragrances. So Oud comes in by Aaron Terence Hughes at number 33. Number 32 is the first of many Areej Le Dorés, Russian Adam creations, and this is called Manly. So Manly is actually a collaboration with his... I was going to see if I had it right here. Hang on one moment. Yes, I do. It's right here. So, Manly is a collaboration with his stepbrother, and his stepbrother's name is Anton. He named his fragrance house Aton Perfumes, and I actually reviewed one of these. It was a very good patchouli fragrance that used an aged patchouli that Russian Adam sent to me. And I could smell the aged patchouli in its pure form, which I have right... You know, right here, he sent me these little beautiful, it was like 50 of these little ingredients, and one of them was an aged patchouli. And I actually went through this. If you look up the Russian Adam playlist, I believe the list of us going through it together and me by myself is on there. And so this was a collaboration, this Manly, with Anton, his stepbrother, in 2021. So last year this came out. And it's probably one of the... So Manly is probably one of the more... less daring Areej Le Dorés. It's a little bit more mainstream. Okay, that's a good word for it. It's a little bit more mainstream. Maybe this would be a good starter for someone who's never smelled an Areej Le Doré. Okay, there are some notes in here that you'll pick up that are high quality. There's a beautiful patchouli, there's oak moss, and of course the tobacco. The tobacco is one of the biggest notes in here, with this warmth of cinnamon. You know, if you like fragrances like the one I'm wearing today, if you like Plum and Cognac, or if you like those kind of fall, autumn, winter fragrances. Manly kind of falls right into that. The problem with Manly, and there is real Indian oud in the base as well, but the problem is you just kind of expected a little bit more from an Areej Doré. You know, you just expected to be like, where's the wow? Where's the twist? Where's the, you're waiting for something to happen, and it just never did. It's still a good fragrance, and it has grown on me. I had a chance to wear it to bed once. You can see I only have about a drop left. I'm saving for research purposes, for the fragrance library. But yes, I mean, Manly is a fragrance that it's probably better than 99.9% of brands out there. That's a good way to put it. It's probably better than 99.9% of brands out there, but it doesn't meet Areej Doré's extremely high standards that he set for himself, in my opinion. So, a little synthetic, you know. It's a little synthetic too, but I did enjoy it. And the problem too is that there's another fragrance that I think does the natural tobacco with oud much better, in my opinion, and we'll get to that here very soon. Okay, number 31. Number 31 is the fragrance that I blind sniffed on my live stream. You can go check it out. If you just search on my channel under the live streams, you'll find this fragrance. You'll find the video of me doing the blind sniffing. And this is in part 1. There's 2 parts. And this is, it was numbered, so I didn't know, you know, what was what. But this is by the House of Kemi Blending Magic. And it's called Ilm. I-L-M, Ilm. And it's this woody animalic fragrance. And here's the note listing. Top note, Assam Oud. Heart note, Bangladeshian Oud. Base note, Laotian Oud. And there is this oud profile that you'll get. You know, you're going to get the woody aspects. You're going to get the, you know, the fecal barnyard, if you will, fertilizer chips. You know, you're going to get all of that. There's also something that is a little bit, there's an animalic undertone to this fragrance that goes with the oud. It's not just oud chips and fertilizer. There is something that seems, you know, like dangerously off-putting. And when I first smelled it, I actually didn't, you know, I could tell that the oud was of high quality, but there was something about it that didn't grab me. By the way, while I'm talking about these fragrances that are only oud, there is a house that I left off of this countdown, and it's called Agar. And the reason I left them off is their fragrances come across as being very one-dimensional. You know, it comes across as, many times if you look up a note listing from this house, it's like Laotian Oud, or, you know, Indonesian Oud, or Thai Oud, and that's it. It's just one note. And so they don't really seem like compositions as much. Then there are some that are compositions. But I just left them off because I did early impressions on all of these already. You can go check them out. And if I started to rank these, then I feel like, well, then why wouldn't I just go rank this, you know, individual oud oil that Adam sent me, Choco Barai, or, you know, Philippines Oud, or, you know, and so it just kind of came down to the fact that I just decided to leave the house out. It's not like I have full bottles and I'm super knowledgeable of them either, but I think there were 5 or maybe even 6 early impression videos that I did on this house. And so if you look up Agar, you can check it out. It is Russian Adam's friend who he collaborated on for Aquilaria Blossom, which is coming up very soon. Aquilaria Blossom is a good fragrance, but it really takes the, you know, style of the guy, and I forget his name, but of the gentleman who runs Agar. He likes his ouds to be cleaner, and he likes them to be without that animalic facet. So you get a lot of ouds that smell like you're smelling like, you know, a library book or an old, you know, like an old chest. Like an old chest where your mom and dad kept books or, you know, memories, mementos, stuff like that. And it's been closed for decades, you know, and it just has that, it has that vibe about it. Many of his fragrances have that vibe because it almost feels like he removes the animalic aspect to it. So I'm not the biggest fan of this style anyway, so that's why I ended up leaving them out. But just FYI, that is one of the real oud brands you can check out, but they are very expensive. They're not cheap. Okay, number 30, we're going to do a Xerjoff. And Xerjoff is a house that claims to use real oud. Again, I don't know how much they use or anything, but they do claim to use real oud. This is the only Xerjoff on the list. It's called Gao. And I enjoyed this. This is one where I wouldn't buy a bottle because I don't want to give Xerjoff any money because I really don't like Xerjoff. I don't own any Xerjoff. I do. I own one, but it's Om. Xerjoff Om. That's my favorite Xerjoff by far. But I don't own any of these Oud Xerjoffs, and I don't own any Kemis or anything like that. But this is Gao. Gao came out a decade ago in 2012, and it's a huge saffron fragrance. Maybe one of the biggest saffron fragrances I've ever smelled. Lots of saffron in the top with Nagamatha oil, which is Cypriol, and Laotian oud and Thai oud mixed with patchouli and amber. And this stuff lasted on the card. I sprayed a piece of paper. I mean, I could smell it for, I think, weeks. Weeks it lasted on the card. I had to just basically throw it out. But if you're looking for beast mode scent, check out Gao. I mean, I'd like to smell others. I don't want to give Xerjoff any money. So that's kind of where I'm at on that front. Okay, so next on the list is going to be a Frederic Malle. And if you look at their Desert Gems collection, they claim to use real oud. So I have 3 of them that use real oud in this list. There's a 4th one that I own called Promise that there's no oud listed, okay? But I love Promise. It's one of my favorite compositions of the entire line. But there's no oud listed, and that's why it's much cheaper than the others. But there's a huge Cypriol, or a huge Nagamatha note. And I did an entire video on Nagamatha Cypriol. You can go check it out if you would like. But long story short is I think there's some houses that, that will use Cypriol to try to give the impression of oud. You know, because many people don't know what oud smells like. So they throw the Cypriol in there because it does smell exotic and foreign and kind of expensive. And so people say, oh, that must be what oud smells like. So Promise has that Cypriol note thrown in place of oud. And so the 3 on this list are the 3 from the Desert Gems collection that use real oud. And the lowest on the list of the 3, for me, number 29, is called Dawn. Now, Mudasir wrote The Dawn, but it's actually just Dawn. No the. And Dawn, the reason it's here, and it's done by one of my favorite perfumers, Carlos Benaim, who did some amazing scents. He did Polo Green. He did Dunhill's Icon, which I think is very underrated. One of my favorite neroli scents. And Dawn is basically this rose frankincense with a touch of oud. So many fragrances are rose oud with a touch of frankincense. This is rose frankincense. And frankincense and incense is really the main accord with resins to me, okay? Oud is a back fiddle. It's a back player. It's a player in the background. Even with that being said, though, it is a beautiful composition. They claim to use real oud, and it is not cheap. It is not a cheap fragrance at all if you look up the price of these Desert Gems. So Dawn comes in at number 29. Number 28 is actually a cheapie. One of my friends, I'd call him a friend now. He's done so much for me in the channel, although he remains in the background. Does not want to put himself forward, put himself out there, so I respect his anonymity, but thank you for this, my friend. This is Ajmal's Mukhallat Shams, or Mukhallat al-Shams, depending on where you see it. But he gave me almost a steal price. He was trying to sell some stuff, and he's like, just take it. You know, here, give me a little bit of money and take it. He's like, you know, I'm trying to kind of thin the collection and focus on the stuff that I love. And so Mukhallat al-Shams comes in at number 28. And what's interesting is the house of Ajmal is a very, it's a house with a lot of upside in my mind, because when I smell this composition, this doesn't smell cheap at all. I just put it ahead of a fragrance that you'd have to spend $500 to $800 to find a bottle of Dawn. And, you know, I found this for, let's just say, under 50. You could probably find it on fragrancebuy.ca right now for 70 or 80 or whatever it is. It's a 50 ml bottle, and they have their own oud fields. Ajmal owns oud plantations, and Russian Adam actually did an entire video on his channel. The owner of Areej Doré, he did an entire video on, and the video was titled "My Favorite Perfume Brand," and it is Ajmal for him. He loves Ajmal, and I see why now. I've smelled an Ajmal before. Someone actually sprayed, Eddie actually sprayed a cloth and put it in with a package, a care package that he sent my way. And so I smelled it, but I've never actually got to wear it on skin. This was the first time I got to wear one on skin. And let me tell you something. This is impressive stuff. This may be one of their cheaper offerings. They may have better quality ouds, but I love this type of oud. Barnyard, animalic. This is like an amber oud, is the way I would describe it. It's like an amber oud. The oud is barnyard, with a little bit of woods underneath, kind of holding everything together. A little bit of musk, mostly amber and oud. Maybe a tiny amount of rose, or, you know, some sort of blossom, some sort of florals in there. And this sourness. Someone mentioned it in the comments the other day. He said, "Hey man, I saw your bottle of Mukhallat Sham sitting there. You know, what do you think of it?" And I said, "I love it." And he's like, "Man, it's kind of sour on me." And I was like, that's perfect. That is the perfect word for it. There is this sourness to it. And I actually wore it outside. I wore it running in the cold, in the 40 degree temperature at night. Sometimes I'm just like, I got to go for a jog, and I'll just go, you know, in the middle of the night. And this fragrance is, the sourness seemed to come out even more when my skin warmed up, and then when it hit the cold. But I really enjoyed it. It wears nothing like a $30, $50, $80, $100 fragrance. I think this retails for $150, but you can find it at discounters for much less. And Ajmal is they seem to be the real deal. You know, if you don't want to spend money on brands that mark their fragrances up big time, here you go. Ajmal could be the solution for you. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 27, and it actually is an Areej Doré. It's Aquilaria Blossom. He sent me this before it even came out. I had this for a month, and I couldn't say anything because we were waiting for it to come out. And in one of our live streams, maybe the second one, we talked about it. But this has the owner of Agara's DNA in it, more than Russian Adam to me. You know, when two people come together to create a fragrance, one person is always going to, Taha's his name. One person's always going to kind of take the lead. I feel like Taha took the lead here. This is his style of perfume. It's cleaner, it's fresher. You do get a beautiful, beautiful ambergris note with yuzu. And so there is a fresher oud fragrance that I actually enjoy wearing a little bit more than this. I'll show you in just a second. But it's not all freshness. There is a little bit of dirt. There's some patchouli. There's, of course, the oud. There's castoreum, too, in the base. So it's not all, and it's a little bit resinous as well. Citrusy and resinous is how I would describe it. Contrast. But the oud is very fresh, very wearable, not barnyard, not animalic, not very challenging to me. Yeah, it has that freshness about it. I'm gonna try to do a review of it once I, one day once I get around to it. But I think you can even still buy bottles on his website, which is very rare that a fragrance lasts that long on areejladoré.com. Okay, number 26 is a fragrance I have a review up on the channel already. It's from the house of Bortnikoff, and it's called Sayat Nova. And Sayat Nova is a very interesting fragrance because it's like this resinous apricot with rum. So it's a little bit boozy, a little bit resinous. There's some vanilla and oak moss in the base. There's 3 types of oud. Laotian oud, Bengali oud, and Thai oud. But it's not super animalic, okay? It's there. You can kind of sense it. It's a slightly challenging, but really what you're going to get is lots of warm vanilla with this boozy apricot. And it is beautiful. If you're a fan of woody, fruity, you know, if, like Jonathan, who we did a live stream together, I don't know, a month ago now, before he started his channel, I believe. And he mentioned that plum is his favorite note. If that's kind of your thing, if you're a big fan of, you know, plum, apricot, peach, you have to smell Sayat Nova. It is a crazy take on that fruity genre, if you will. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 25. And number 25 is a Bortnikoff. I guess I should have checked which one's which before I started this video. Oh, I happened to pull the right one. Okay, so number 25 is a Bortnikoff, and it's called Amber Cologne. And Amber Cologne is the fresh fragrance I was mentioning that I like just a little bit more than Aquilaria Blossom. And the reason I like Amber Cologne a little bit more is this is a masterclass in fresh oud to me. If you don't like the animalic ouds, if you are not interested in the barnyard oud, if you can't understand how someone would want to, you know, walk around with that fecal, animalic, challenging facet to a fragrance, Amber Cologne, but you still want an oud fragrance, Amber Cologne is the one that I would probably tell you to go check out. It is so citrusy and fresh, and yet, you know, one thing that Bortnikoff, I think, really excels at, that many of his indie perfumer friends that are around him, anyone, you know, you look at someone like Malle, you know, you look at someone like Peter Carter, any of these indie perfumers that you want to pick out, Bortnikoff uses florals in a way that is just stunning. Like, I've never seen florals used the way Bortnikoff does it. It is really something spectacular. And he uses fragrance florals that are unique. You smell a lot of like lotus and frangipani, you know, stuff that you don't see every day in the perfume world. And it really gives his fragrances a twist. And so this has this woody, floral, sparkly. There's real ambergris. There's brown ambergris and black and white ambergris in this. And then there's 3 types of oud, but the oud is the base. This is a summer wear for me. When I feel like wearing an oud fragrance in the summer or on a special occasion, okay? So if we're going somewhere for, you know, someone's birthday or something like that, and it's hot outside and you want to smell posh and high class, Amber Cologne. It will not fail you. Amber Cologne is beautiful. But if you're looking for the barnyard oud, you will be disappointed. This is a fresh oud, but it's gorgeous. Okay, so 1 Bortnikoff down with the full bottle. Next on the list, we've got number 24, and it's the other decant that I have of Frederic Malle's Desert Gems, and it's called The Night. Okay, so The Night is Dominique Ropion's oud masterpiece that he basically took Portrait of a Lady, and it's almost like Portrait of a Lady with oud, okay? It has Turkish rose, saffron, oud, a little bit of that patchouli with frankincense and sandalwood. And it is animalic. The oud in here does smell high quality. It's just, you know, nowadays you're getting indie houses like some of these that I've been mentioning, Bortnikoff, Areej Doré, Centauri, you know, they're doing it for Terence Hughes. They're doing this kind of perfumery for much less. So the target audience for this is a little bit questionable. Who wants to spend $1,500, $1,800 for a bottle when you can spend $300 on a Bortnikoff or, you know, $300 on an Areej Doré and get a perfume that is arguably higher quality with, you know, a third of the price. Who wants to spend this kind of money? The price of these are outrageous. And they're targeting a certain group of people. I get it. And maybe when this came out in 2014, it was that revolutionary that you go spend $1,500, $1,800 on a bottle and you don't bat an eye. Now, though, that's a tough sell. So I'm happy with the decant. I'll do a full review. I still have a lot. I've worn this, I don't know, 4 times since I've had it. Look how much I still have left from my decant. So, yes, it's... is it good? Yes. Is it worth full retail price? Absolutely not. You'd have to get it heavily discounted. Number 23, though, staying in the same house, there is a fragrance called The Moon by Frederic Malle. And it's going to come in at number 23. It beat out The Night by just a little bit because I love this composition. There is something about this fragrance that I am just... oh, God, I am just bowled over by, you know. And again, they claim to use real oud. That's why it's here. Julien Rascanet is the perfumer. And The Moon is this fruity, woody, leathery, oudy, smoky, you know, big saffron. There's a big, big saffron. I did an entire video on saffron where I had the real saffron, you know, fresh saffron that I brought up, and we smelled the real saffron. We smelled some saffron fragrances. There is a huge saffron note in this one, but it is an amazing fragrance, and it has one of the best lychee notes I've ever smelled. There's a fragrance called Zonka, which who did Zonka? It was the magician. Bertrand Duchefort, the magician, did Zonka. And, you know, that's a beautiful lychee note. This is a beautiful lychee note. These are the top 2 lychee fragrances I've ever smelled. And it almost has this raspberry hookah-like vibe to it. It's so huge, though. This and Promise are 2 of the biggest fragrances in my collection. They are just huge perfumes. And obviously, there's going to be some synthetics used to create a fragrance this big, but it is stunning. It's a beautiful fragrance. I love it. Okay, number 22 is a fragrance that, again, I have a full review on the channel. You can go check it out. It's called Spirit of Dubai Oud. And Spirit of Dubai Oud is, well, what can I say? Spirit of Dubai Oud, here it is. Enough for me to do a full wear one more time. So it beat out The Night because... there was just something about this that I liked just a little bit more than The Night. I don't know why. They say there's a lot going on in this. Almonds and pine and fruits and myrrh and earthy notes and all different types of roses and leathery notes and tobacco. And it really does give you The Night. It feels like you're wearing a version of Frederic Malle's The Night. But I wore this first. And from this house, and it's kind of what I was expecting the entire line to be like, and it's not. The oud used in the rest of the line feels a little lower quality than the oud you get in the actual one that says oud. So just be careful with that, but go check out my review if you want to learn more about it. Okay, number 21. I guess we got to pick this up because we're already at 48 minutes and we still are only halfway there. So number 21 is a Areej Doré, and it's called Oud Picante. Go watch my review on this one. I've got a couple drops left. This is not one of the ones that I would grab a full bottle of if full bottles became available. There are many other Areej Dorés you're going to find that are much closer to the top. A couple that are basically at the top of the list that I want full bottles of ahead of this, but this is a huge cumin, cinnamon, clove, cardamom, nutmeg. It has this turmeric-like spiciness to it with tobacco, coffee, and Borneo oud, Apopanax, Muhuhu wood, Bengali sandalwood, costus, fossilized amber, and labdanum. Very challenging for me. I think once it dried, it got a little bit better, but man, the first hour or 2 on that one was tough. That was a tough one. And number 20. Number 20, we have a Dusita. And it's actually Oud Infini. So Oud Infini is her first release in 2016, and what a bold release it was. I've got a little Discovery atomizer, and you know, I might buy a full, if I could find a full bottle for a couple $100, I'd buy it. Full 50 ml bottle, a couple $100, I'd buy it. I just won't pay $380, $400, whatever the hell it is. It's, and you can see I still have so much left. It's a beautiful fragrance though. Animalic, floral, orange blossom, Laotian oud, May rose. The rose in here is stunning. She says Mysore sandalwood. I don't know, but the thing that sets this apart though is civet. There's a big civet note in the base, and it challenges people. People who aren't used to smelling animalic civet will kind of, you know, crinkle their nose at this one. This is one that can put you off, but if you have a palate where you've smelled hundreds, thousands of fragrances, you know, you'll understand the beauty in Oud Infini. Probably her first and her best fragrance. Okay, number 19. Number 19 is going to be a Bortnikoff, and it's going to be the one that I said that I think does a better job than Manly. It's called Tabac Doré. And again, there's a full review on the channel of this. I think there is. This is a beautiful tobacco, one of the most complex, and you know, there's so many little avenues and cuts and twists, you know, almost like watching the light reflect off of a diamond. There's so many points that you can focus on and understand, and you know, there's so much to smell in this fragrance, and that's what I love about it. It is a big tobacco. It smells like you're smelling the inside of a humidor, okay? It has that vibe, but the base is real Vietnamese oud and real Thai oud. It's resinous, it's woody. It's probably full bottle worthy, to be honest with you, because I am a tobacco lover, and this is one of the best tobacco fragrances. You know, they say natural tobacco absolute has like 300 different notes. You could pick out all kind of things: smoky notes, fruity notes, floral notes, earthy notes, you know, charcoal and resins, and they say it's extremely complex, and it's here. So Tabac Doré comes in at number 19. Number 18. Number 18 is an Ensar Oud. I think it's the first Ensar Oud on the list, and it is called EO number 2. Now, again, there's a full review on this on the channel. So I've changed my tune on this a little bit since I've worn it. And when I did the video, the very first time that I wore it, when I did the video, I wasn't very nice in my review. I said it was overpriced, and I do think it's overpriced. Actually, I think all of Ensar's fragrances are overpriced, and I don't care whether he gets his oud from the moon, okay? I don't care if his roses and ambergris come from the late Omani Sultan bin Qaboos's special collection. I don't care about any of that. I just care about the fragrances and the prices, and it really does feel like you're being taken for a little bit of a ride. And he brings it as, well, it's a luxury purchase, and, you know, it's a one, you know, that kind of thing. But to me, there's no difference between when I smell a $1,500 bottle of Ensar Oud and a $300 bottle of Areej Doré. I mean, you know, it feels like one is charging you 4 times as much and one isn't. If that's the case, then Russian Adam could quadruple his prices and people would keep paying it. But I think he's a little bit more cognizant of trying to get his fragrances out to real fragrance lovers, whereas it really feels like Ensar is trying to kind of cash in. That's just how it feels to me. But I do like the fragrance. I would wear this. I'll tell you what. I absolutely would wear this. And the reason this is here and not any lower or higher, it would have been lower if you would have asked me before I had a chance to wear this to bed once or twice after that video. And it's grown on me. It has. There is this cumin opening that reminded me of Oud Picante. But the more I smelled it, the more I think I like it a little bit more than Oud Picante. Even though Oud Picante deserves credit for being the first, okay? Oud Picante deserves credit for being the first. And this feels like a take on that, with basmati rice in the opening, beautiful rose, papau oud with civet and Mysore sandalwood in the base. And here there probably is real Mysore sandalwood in the base. And the kicker, though, the thing that's really grown on me as I've got to smell the fragrance more and more is the musk. The musk in the base of this is stunning. One of the best musk fragrances I think I've smelled. Not the best, though. That title goes to a Russian Atom creation coming up very soon. But, yes, number 18 is EO number 2. So, that's kind of my take on it. Good, but no way I'm giving someone $1,000 for that. Okay, next on the list, number 17, we're going to go to the History of Attar collection. Okay, this is his 7th collection, the newest collection. And this is called Malik Al-Motia. And go watch my live stream. People keep asking me, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? Go watch my live stream with Russian Atom. It answers all of those questions. I sprayed every single one of these and gave an early impression. I really liked Malik Al-Motia. This is one that uses Thai oud with this Motia Attar note. There is a blue lotus note, which is a note you usually find in Bortnikoff's, but Russian Atom is using it here in Malik Al-Motia with sandalwood, benzoin, Peru balsam, and amber. And it says a heavy oriental twist on one of the most beautiful Indian jasmine attars called Attar Motia. And it is a beautiful jasmine grandiflorum in the top. Don't let that put you off, though. This is a beautiful fragrance. The sandalwood and amber in the dry down is just stunning. So, Malik Al-Motia comes in at number 17. I'll try to do a full review on this before I use up all the juice. And number 16 is back to Ensar Oud. And this is EO1 Assam. Now, EO1 Assam is kind of like a flanker of EO1, which is the one I really want. I want EO1. I've never smelled that. That's the one I really want to smell. But EO1 Assam is this animalic, spicy, and I did enjoy it. I gave this a full wear. I did a review on it. I talked about it. You can go hear my thoughts. The ambergris in the opening is stunning, and there's lots of resins, and I love the smoky frankincense dry down with the Assam Oud, and it is really, this could easily be a daily driver. If this was a $100 fragrance, this could be a daily driver type fragrance. It really feels like something that can just be worn every day, even though it's opulent, but it doesn't have that wow factor. It doesn't grab me. It's like I shrug when I smell it. I'm like, it's nice. I appreciate it. I appreciate the quality of the ingredients. But something is missing, you know? Something is missing. Again, maybe the more I wear it, like with EO2, it'll grow on me. But right now, I'm kind of like, you know, it needs a little bit more. But it is good. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 15. And this is going to be Siberian Musk. And this can be any Siberian Musk. Siberian Musk number 1 or Siberian Musk number 2. I've got videos. Actually, I have a comparison video between these on the channel. And this is my favorite musk of all time. Siberian Musk by Areej Doré is my favorite musk. It's perfect. God. It is the best musk fragrance, man. It is full bottle worthy. I'd love to find bottles of this. It's just you can't find them. And when people think, you know, they're sitting on a gold mine, if you try to buy a bottle off of them, they want your kidney, they want your firstborn. They want your code password to your bank account, you know, and I get it. It's not being produced anymore, but be reasonable, you know. The deer musk in this is unbelievable. I mean, it is almost like a heavenly experience. There's New Guinea oud, cypress, patchouli, amber, Indian vetiver, and Indian musk in the base. And so the New Guinea oud in the base puts it here. But the musk, I mean, you know, when I rank my musk scents, I'm telling you, that's going to be at the top. Okay, next on the list, we've got another History of Attar collection fragrance. This is number 14, and this is Ombre de Coco. So, Ombre de Coco is beautiful. It's probably the one getting the most hype right now on, you know, the internet. The most popular, complex, and intense Indian attar, known as Amber Shamama, transformed into a modern, sophisticated, spicy sandal and sandal and Oud Chypre perfume composition. I really like Ambre de Coco. Beautiful peach in cacao. And ambergris and real Indian oud in the base. Ambre de Coco is definitely full bottle worthy. And if you like that, chocolatey oud, this is a good one. Which you'll see from my rankings here at the top. I absolutely do like that chocolatey oud. Okay, next on the list we've got number 13, and we have a Bortnikoff. And this is going to be, let's see if I can find it. Nope. Yep. Okay, this is going to be Mysterious Oud. Okay, so Mysterious Oud is an Oriental take on oud. Came out in 2018, and it's rose and oud and cardamom and spices, but think about the resins. The resins kind of take the spotlight here. So there's lots of cinnamon. There's tolu balsam and apopanax, which is sweet myrrh. There's labdanum. There's vanilla. So think about this Oriental oud with those beautiful florals I was telling you. Bortnikoff just shines at producing. And there's oud and Indian oud and castoreum. Okay, so it's a little bit dirty. What a fragrance, man. Mysterious Oud is very good. It's not my favorite, as you'll see, but it's very, very good. Full bottle worthy for sure for an oud lover. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 12, back to the History of Attar collection. And number 12 is Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty and the Beast opens up with beauty. I mean, it literally does. Beauty and the Beast starts out with beauty. And beauty lasts for a long time. This is a beautiful rose opening. And if you're looking for the oud, if you're not a patient man or woman, you may give up on this before the Beast comes out. The Beast comes out in the late dry down on this. This is Indian rose in the top, French cacao in the mid, Indian oud in the base. Barnyard Indian oud, 30% dosed in oud in this. His most heavily dosed concentration of oud. And by hour 4 or 5 in the late dry down, the most beautiful barnyard Indian oud comes to the forefront. But you have to have patience, okay? This is for the connoisseurs. If you're a spray and sniff guy, you're gonna be like, "Where's the oud? This is not what I expected." Be patient. Beauty and the Beast is beautiful. All right, next on the list, we have a Suga Parfums. And so Suga is James Barry's house. And I've talked about this fragrance many of times on the channel. This is Fiona. So Fiona is an animalic lover's dream. It has every animalic fragrance you can imagine, okay? There is, I've gone through this many a times, but there's brown, white, black, ambergris, civet, real Siberian deer musk, Hyraceum, Hyraceum absolute, castoreum, oncha, goat's hair, skunk accord, muskrat. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Freaking muskrat. But Indian oud, Laotian oud, and Vietnamese oud are the 3 types of oud in here. And it is animalic. It is challenging, but I absolutely love it. And I actually bought a backup bottle, or a backup little decanter of this. There's a bunch of florals in here too. It's like an animalic floral, but man, what a fragrance that is. Deserves the 11th spot. Absolutely deserves it. Top 10. Number 10 is a Bortnikoff. And it is... Nope. Let's check this one. It is... Yep. Oud Monarch. One of my favorite chocolate ouds. Oud Monarch is... I mean... What can you say about Oud Monarch? What I can say is this. It starts off with some of the most beautiful florals. The florals in this are underrated. This is basically a chocolate oud floral with hints of tobacco and civet and castoreum, resins. It's It starts off with Magnolia and Frangipani. Beautiful fragrance, beautiful floral fragrance when you first spray, with May rose, Himalayan rose, cinnamon, and tobacco. But it's the base of Papau Oud, Thai Oud, cacao, civet, castoreum, labdanum, and vanilla. If you're a lover of chocolate oud fragrances and you like florals, Oud Monarch could be a signature scent for you. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 9. And we're back to, Areej La Doré. And this is called Malik Al Taif, the king of Taif. This is the king of rose fragrances for me. This is actually my favorite rose of all time. I just wish I had 1,000 milliliters of this. God. Okay, so the Taif rose and the Indian rose are the stars of the show here. There is no doubt about that. They are the stars of the show. But there is a beautiful oud in the base that's holding the fragrance together. Go watch my interviews with Russian Adam to hear him tell the story about how they made this. Only the hands of women picked these petals. They didn't distill the whole flower with the bulb. They actually picked each individual petal off of the bulb. So you didn't get that greenness. Usually rose can come off a little green from the base. Here it's just petals. It's so stunning. I mean, this is a kingly scent. This is what you would smell like if you were a sultan or, you know, a king of a country. This is what you would smell like, I imagine. Beautiful Mysore sandalwood. Beautiful deer musk in here too. But the Indian oud, you know, it really is kind of like the backbone of the scent. Beautiful stuff. I love Malik Al Taif. Wish I had a full bottle. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 8. Number 8 is back to Bortnikoff. And this is... Yep, this is Lao Oud. So this is his newer release, one of his newer releases from last year, I believe. Yep, Lao Oud was a 2021 release. And it opens up with pink pepper and magnolia, with beeswax absolute, cinnamon, chamomile, Peru balsam, and cacao absolute. Laotian oud, tonka bean, coffee, Indian oud, vanilla absolute, birch tar, and gaiac wood. And if you like Oud Monarch with the chocolate, but you also like Barnyard Oud, this takes the Barnyard Oud in Oud Monarch up another notch. Okay, it's more animalic than Oud Monarch, and instead of oud and chocolate, it's oud and coffee with honeyed aspects. It's so good. Very woody, very deep, sensual, you know. This is a fragrance to put on when you're really deep in thought. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite coffee fragrances of all time. I haven't smelled Russian Adam's coffee fragrance, Oud Luwak, but I love Lao Oud. Next on the list, we've got number 7. And number 7 is Oud Zen. So we're getting into some of the big hitters. Go watch my video of this. This is probably one of the best out-and-out oud fragrances I've ever smelled. There was originally a release a couple years ago called Oud Zen, Z-E-N. And then this is Oud Zen, Z-H-E-N. It's a different year, but same concept. Oud, Indian saffron, castoreum, civet, vetiver, myrrh, sandalwood, tolu balsam. I wish I had a bottle of this stuff. Am I going to pay 400, 500 bucks for it on the secondary market? If I found a bottle at a good price, I'd go for it. Okay, number 6 is back to Areej La Doré, and look how much of this I used. Almost all of it. This is Chinese Oud. This is another one that I wish I had a full bottle of. And originally I thought I liked Oud Zen more, but this grew on me big time. In fact, I would spray it on at night just because I love the way that it smelled. The oud seems so high quality, so high class, real Mysore sandalwood in the base, and this rare, wild Chinese oud. So Chinese oud is just it's a revelation. I mean, If you let me pick one Areej Doré fragrance, this would be in the running. Chinese Oud. Number 5. Number 4. Sorry, that was number 6. Number 5 is an Ensar Oud fragrance, and this is another one that I want a full bottle of, but you know, I just can't pay $1,000 for 30, 50 mils or whatever it is. I'm happy to have this, blessed to have this. This was actually sent to me by one of you. I did buy something from him, but he included this in there very kindly. And this is called Tiger Lust. So Tiger Lust is this fruity, animalic oud. There's Chinese oud, Sri Lankan oud, and Indonesian oud in here. And it has this beautiful, leathery, apricot-y osmanthus note. And animalic civet and sandalwood, and castoreum and blackcurrant. It's fruity, it's floral, frangipani, real ambergris. This is what I expected every Ensar Oud fragrance to smell like, something like this. I smelled this first, it's my favorite. Oud Assam and Oud were a little bit letdowns after smelling Tiger Lust to me, but maybe that's too challenging for most, not for me. Number 4. Number 4 is another Areej Doré, and it is, oh no, did it fall? Ah, here it is. It is Antiquity. Go watch my video on Antiquity. I said it was like riding in a train and just watching the perfume world just go by, watching old guirlands get made. You know, you're reminded of old guirlands when you smell Antiquity. This is probably the one I would get a full bottle of, honestly, if I could. Peach aldehyde, bergamot, carnation, Cambodian oud, angelica root, patchouli, Russian leather, muscatone, more patchouli, amber, and Indian oak moss. My God. And this really takes you back. I mean, if you're a lover of vintage guirlands or... Oh, shit, I just dropped them all on the floor. God damn it. All right, I'll pick you up later. Number 3. Number 3 is Bortnikoff again. And it is Oud Maximus 2020. So this is probably one of my out-and-out just favorite oud fragrances that you can just go buy. I think it's still available. Oud Maximus 2020 is many types of rose. May rose, Himalayan rose, Indian rose, rose attar, frangipani. It has that floralness, but it has Indian oud, Vietnamese oud, Borneo oud, and Sri Lankan oud. 4 types of oud with birch tar. So it's a little bit smoky and resinous, and deer musk. There's real deer musk in here as well. It's just, I think it's Bortnikoff's best work, honestly. Oud Maximus. And there's civet, so it's a little bit challenging and animalic. I love it. I love Oud Maximus. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is an Areej Doré, and it is the extremely hard to find Russian oud. So, this is a chocolatey oud. This is my favorite chocolatey oud. This is oud with Indian oud, castoreum, cacao, deer musk, frankincense, Indian myrrh, labdanum, birch tar, sandalwood, and cedarwood. But there's this ambery, resinous quality. There's this lava-like is the way that it was described, and it's a perfect descriptor. There's this lava-like amber rolling down the side of the volcano feel, right? It's here, all right? Yeah, it's absolutely here. This ambery, you know, it is one of the best ambers I've ever smelled, I think, but also one of the best oud fragrances I've ever smelled. It's special. Rumor is Russian Adam tried to recreate it, and the recreation failed. For whatever reason, the oud couldn't be distilled the same, and it didn't work out. So this is kind of like a one-and-done fragrance, Russian oud. And my number 1 is actually a fragrance that I do not have a bottle of, shockingly. But I do have a review on my channel. You can go check it out. This is Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire is number 1 for me. This was sent to me by Jonathan, interestingly enough. Oh my God. Ottoman Empire is stunning. And you know what's more stunning about it? This is Russian Adam's first fragrance. I can't believe that. Like, it's almost like divine intervention, you know? How did he create this on his first try? Frangipani water, Indian rose absolute, white rose, jasmine, Bulgarian rose, Afghan rose, Georgian rose, cardamom, Jamaican pepper, frangipani, saffron attar, Indian oud, Assam oud, Indian vetiver, cinnamon, nutmeg, sandalwood, oak moss, amber, and myrrh. It is as opulent as the name sounds. Ottoman Empire. It really does. It really does feel like you're watching something as grand as an empire being built. I mean, it is a grand fragrance and maybe special occasion fragrance, but I swear to God, I would wear this every day. This is Perfume Masterclass 101 at work. My favorite oud, and I don't even have a bottle of it, but hopefully one day soon. And you know, every time Russian Adam releases one of these, Ottoman Empire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, he uses the same booklet he's been using for the entire time. Nothing has changed, according to him, and I believe him. So if there ever is a new Ottoman Empire, I'm all over it. Otherwise, I will try and find a new bottle. I'll try to find a bottle from someone that's selling it. So thanks for watching, everybody. An hour and 16 minutes in. I wanted to keep this at an hour. We went a little bit long, but I really do appreciate you guys watching. Give me your feedback. Let me know what your favorite real oud fragrances are. We'll do a part 2 tomorrow, or maybe the day after tomorrow, where we talk about the oud, the Western oud fragrances, not the real ones, the synthetic ones. And we'll rank those as well. So you'll see the oud woods, you'll see the, you know, you'll see the MFK, Mason Francis Kirkjohn ouds and stuff like that, where they're not using real oud, I don't think, okay? But if one of those companies is, and I put them on the list, I do apologize, but I don't think those companies are using real oud, like Creed and stuff like that. They'll be on the list. Versace, you know, those type of fragrances. Western ouds, okay? That's how I'll describe it. So, cheers, guys. Let me know what your favorites are. Let me know what you think of the list, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye now.